Not rolling.
It's the
All right.
Yeah.
Party people in the place to be, vandals and everybody else out there that are just listening to some rad tunes. This is a brand new episode of Pink Distortion, our special music episode, and we have a really, really rad packed panel tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and let everybody kind of go around and introduce themselves, starting with our Pokemon catching friend over here.
I fucking hate Pokemon, which is kind of funny. Hi, my name is Adriean. I'm the creator of a comic creator. I got a book coming out in July called Trakovi with the Mighty Scout Comics, and I'm just happy to be here.
Right on. Next up, Miss Becka. How are you doing this wonderful evening?
Good. I'm just trying to figure out how to screen share. But before I get to that, I'm Becka. I'm a comic book creator, and I'm happy to be on tonight's show.
Right on. Did you want me to pop whatever you have up here on screen for you?
Yeah. I managed to. There we go. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do some drawings tonight while talking about music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
You're working on issue 3 or
Yep.
what? Yeah.
Yep.
Issue 3.
Yep.
Wait, we're allowed to do that?
If you wanted to.
I mean, I get for fuck's sakes, like all these.
I asked ahead of time. They're like, yeah, it's okay. You know.
There's no rules, man. There's no rules.
Oh. Well, I got nothing to do. Okay.
Well, you're working on the sitter, right, man?
Yeah, but it's upstairs.
Next time.
Next time.
Or if it only takes you a few seconds, just run up and get it real quick.
No, I don't want to be a dick about things. That's okay.
All right.
But tonight we're talking about our favorite debut albums, not necessarily from our favorite bands. And this is going to be a really cool, fun episode. We got a lot of really neat music to talk about tonight. But before we get into all that, I'm going to go around and see if anybody has a check-in, anything they kind of want to shout out. Let's start with, oh, wait, I did not let Matt, our other guests, introduce themselves. I am so sorry. We got the two lovely other people joining us.
Zenin and Maxim, yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
How's it going, guys?
Real good. First time with you guys. Really happy you invited. So
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me a second time. I'm really happy to be here too.
Nice. Yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about, so it should be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Keifer popped in, but he popped back out. I don't know if he'll stop back in, but anyway, he'll be joining us momentarily.
Technology.
But yeah, in the meantime, does anybody got anything to check in? Anything I kind of want to shout out?
Well, Adriean already plugged his Trakovi.
Was I not allowed to do that? That's cool, right? I can I don't know.
And then you actually have you're working on your next book at the moment because you just wrapped up Trakovi, so now you started up your new one, right?
Yeah, the sitter with lesser known comics, and so April is when we're shooting for the Kickstarter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I know Becka, she's actually working on her latest thing at the moment with us live. The issue 3 of the
Hole Club Tragidy.
Yeah, Tragedy, exactly. Yeah. Issues 1 and 2 are already out. People can go pick those up.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can pick them up on my website at thebecka.com, or you can pick them up also at some local comic book shops. Well, by local, I mean like Cambridge and Mississauga, Gotham Central, and DIY all the way.
Cool. You're working on that. Do you have any other projects in the works at the same time, or are you focusing mainly on that for the moment?
Oh, yes. I've got a short story for the guys at Cauldron. They're going to have a hardcover collection come out soon. So what I'm working on for them, it's not going to come out on that book, but the book after that, if I got it right, hopefully. So.
And
Yeah.
You have a cover, I think, in the last previews as well for Rebel Girl. Was that it?
Rebel Girls, yeah, through
Yeah.
Keen Spot Comics. So pre-orders are still open if you go to the Keen Spot Comics website, and I think it should still be there in the previews world. So it's coming out on July 26th, I believe. So
Cool.
yeah, really excited about that. It's a debut by Danny Harrell, writer Danny Harrell, and
Cool.
really fun.
Very
comic.
cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right, and we have Celine and Max. Celine's better known as Pew Pew Kid on social. She has her site, and I think you dropped some new stuff on your site, right, Celine?
On my website, yeah, I have a new print, and I also have a new T-shirt, and I've did a new illustration, another smash up, punk rock smash up with sci-fi movies. So it's I did the Enema of the State from Blink 182 with Gremlins. So if you want to check out, you can go see on my Instagram. And
Nice.
this summer also, I've been selected to an exposition called The Board Show. So I'm going to paint on a skateboard. And like Adrian, I don't skate like never, but I paint on them. So that's great.
Nice.
So I don't have the date right now, but yeah, The Board Show on Instagram if you want to follow them. It's a bunch of artists also who are exposed. So yeah. That's what's up for now.
Very cool. And we also have your partner, Maxim, who actually is better known as Punk Rock Dad Vinyls on Instagram. And you drop weekly videos, and you have a little series this week that you put out for the Poutsa Fest, the Punk Rock Fest that just ended in Montreal, right?
Exactly. And so I've just been recording one earlier today. I'll be posting probably after the show. Just sharing my passion for music and vinyls and trying to get my daughter into it also at the same time. So she loves participating and listening to some of the new music. So we're trying to get her in the punk rock world instead of the TikTok top 40 world, where she with her friends. She will come with us see Vulgaire Machin, one of the Quebec punk bands, in November. So it's going to be her first initiation to a punk show.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
How old is she? This will be her first show at what age?
She's 8 years old now. So.
Nice.
Whoa! So her first show, 8 years old at punk. Yeah, that's cool, man. Very cool.
That's gonna be fun. So just trying to share, and I'm gonna be probably starting writing for a small zine, a web zine in Quebec called Le Bad Crew, and so I'm starting to just know that I've been accepted earlier this week. So trying to pick up some new subject, and probably one of the album we'll be talking. I want to try to make a review because I really want this band to be known by as much people as possible.
Nice. Very cool. Keifer is working out his technical issues, but he'll be joining us once he gets that sorted. So, man, I don't really have much to check in with. How about you, Johnny?
I kind of started watching the show Willow, and I don't see what all the hate is. I think it's kind of cute. It's what I expected from it. Like,
oh yeah.
I only watched the first 2 episodes, I think, and I never got back to it. So,
I mean, it took a long time for Willow to actually show up in it, but when he did, like, it was pretty gangster. I don't know. I like Warwick Davis.
Yeah, it's a very nostalgic kind of geared show, right?
Yeah, but I just barely started it. I heard that they were taking it off, so I decided to finally watch it. So
they're completely removing it from the
they're
Disney
taking it
site?
off of Disney Plus. Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah, they're like completely disowning it, man. It's
what a waste.
What so I'm assuming it's not getting a second season then.
Oh no, it got so hate bombed on Twitter and stuff.
Fucking they're killing it with fire.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
You know what? All that money they spent on that, that fucking show. You think they could have made Solo too, right? I mean, come on.
Do we want that?
Yes, we do want that. Yes, we do. You know what? The next show we're going to talk about movies that should be made, and that's going to be my movie.
I'm saying release the Lord and Miller cut before we even get a part 2. Like, I'm going full Snyder fan on it, and I want the Lord and Miller cut.
horrible.
I don't even
Well-
really know what I'm talking about. I just know that.
Well, let's get to it because we have a lot of albums to talk about, and I didn't go buy any Depends for the shows, so I want to make sure that I don't piss myself before the show's over. We better get to it.
I'm gonna go trucker style. Finish this bottle, just like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. If you see me doing this, yeah.
All right, man. Who are we gonna let be the first honoree for their first pick?
Is it okay if I close this down for a little bit, Becca?
Yeah, sure. Go
All
for it.
I love
Alright.
watching you drawing, though.
Sorry?
I love watching you draw.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and I think I saw your Gremlins piece on IG, and it looked awesome.
Thank you so much.
It's a wonderful idea. I mean, like I just really dig where it's coming from. But
It's enema of the batch.
So what we usually give Adriean the shaft, right? So let's go with him first.
yeah,
We'll let him go first this time. Usually we always make him go last, but I think this month, we'll let him go first.
Okay, so
well, it was his idea too. So this was
Yeah, that's true. It's
Was
his
my idea?
He picked it. Yeah, this was your idea. Yeah.
Oh, well,
So
thank
we'll
you.
let you kick it off, man.
Okay. So just before we kind of get into it, so just so you know, there were other albums I had quickly in my mind as best debuts, right? But I wanted to pick debuts that was in real time for me, and then kind of that had a bit of a a connection to me. But if I'm going cred, I pick Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bullocks, and Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures, and The Doors debut. Those are my three
Honorable mentions.
honorable mentions. So yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
So
What do we got?
what's your first official pick?
Hey, who do you want to start with? Because I got them
Oh.
all loaded up here, man. Go ahead and just say which
Yeah.
one.
Yo Bum Russia Show. Public Enemy?
Yeah.
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so 1987, I was in grade 7, and my aunt, who is like, she was really big into, she's about, I don't know, 8 years older than me, so she was really into like reggae, rap back then, kind of before like hip hop was really a name and all that. So she got me into like bands like Houdini, Kool Mo D, and that. Anyway, so we went to this record store called Sound Connection in Edmonton. It's this little hole in the wall place, whatever. It's no longer around. And we walked in, and there was this rack, and there was Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full, and Public Enemy, Yo Bum Russia Show, and just seeing the cover first of all, right? And it's 1987. You don't know what they sound like, but all you see is like six just militant, people like underneath like this spotlight, and the turntables, but it might as well be like like a map of a war setting, right? So like to me, grade 7. I mean, this looked like a band that was ready to kill. This was like like they were about to an invasion, right? So I bought the LP, came home, sparked it up, and it's just like all of a sudden like this guitar kind of kicks in, and then you hear a screeching of a car, and then Flavor Flav kicks in. This is the first time I ever heard Flavor Flav, and then Chuck D just explodes, right? And it's just like the most beautiful voice you'll ever hear, and I just like been I've been in love with Chuck D ever since. And so this album was just like, everyone talks about NWA and all that, like a couple years later, but this to me was like, for me it was my ground zero, and it was like the ground zero for like the golden age of hip hop or rap, right? So Eric B. and Rakim and Schoolie D and whatnot, but yeah, this was like I treasure this album just because like it made such an impression on me, at a young age. And I was like hardcore into rap music for like, all of junior high, right? So 3 solid years of just like, that's all I listened to. And I still love that album. I still get goosebumps when I see that cover. And the cover is very important. The cover has to draw you in. And that definitely drew me in. Like the logo too. Look at that logo.
Yeah.
Right. I remember buying like the T-shirt, like as soon as I could find it, right? And with like the PE logo and that, and you just kind of felt part of a movement, when you listen to them.
What song? If you had to pick one song off the album, what song would you say?
Oh, my 98. Yeah, my 98.
Okay, cool. That first song on the album, man, right away when I listened to it, I was like, man, Chili Peppers just ripped their sound off.
I know.
Like that totally sounds like Chili Peppers, that first song, man. It sounds like their blood, sugar, sex, magic.
Well,
man.
the Chili Peppers are basically they're Faith No More cover band, right?
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I don't mind the Chili Peppers. I mean, whatever. I'll say it.
They're
I don't mind
okay.
the Chili Peppers, yeah.
That album's good. Blood, whatever.
Blood Sugar, Sex, Magic.
Yeah. That's a decent album.
I like Californication better. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's good for a few laughs every now and then.
I was burnt out on them by the time that album came out. So.
Everyone was burnt out by them.
They were done in my book by that time.
Yeah, man. I was like fucking a junkie that's been on shit for years and just burnt out, man, by the time that album came out. Fuck. Yeah.
Anyways, that's my number one pick.
Awesome.
Really classic, man. I gotta applaud you.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Should we go clockwise?
Clockwise. All right. So it'd be Slyn or Max, man. You guys would be up next.
She wants me to go on, so I'll do. So the first one I'll talk about is Lagwagon, the album The. Probably, and yeah, here also on vinyls, we decided it's all albums that I actually own that we'll be talking today, which is a great thing. I decided to pick this album, not necessarily because this one was the one that brought me to punk rock, but Lagwagon brought me to punk rock, and I decided to learn more about Religion and Lagwagon were actually the first two bands that I bought CD of, and the first one for Lagwagon that I bought was Double Platinum. But as soon as I heard this album, I wanted to learn more about this band, and I decided to buy all the albums that they already so us they were Trash and the first album. And this album for me is just it's the definitive sounds, and for what would be the Epitaph and Fat Wreck sound for the 90s. It was it's still a bit raw for Lagwagon, because if there was more of the metal influence that were still there, but really a great album that I believe has a lot of impact on the other bands that will come out to Fat Wreck Records and also on Epitaph. So, and it's an album that also had an impact for Fat Wreck, was one of the most sold albums. So I believe it's to be recognized that even because NoFX was still releasing on Epitaph at this point, even if they had Fat Wreck Records. So the main band of the label was Lagwagon.
Lagwagon, yeah.
I'll pitch up. And a good thing, though, that they named one of their songs Lagwagon, because otherwise this band will be called Section 8 right now.
Yeah, Section 8, that's right. They were strongly advised to change their name because there was like a gangster rap. Yeah, there's a gangster rap group that was called Section 13. They're like, no, you can't keep that. They'll come and actually fuck you up. So
yeah, I changed that in a heartbeat. Yeah, you bet.
It was a good recommendation, and at least they can keep their metal debut, at least, because it's more metal if you listen to the demos prior to that. And so they say that their metal phase went with Section 8, and Lagwagon was more of their punk debut.
Yeah, Section 8 hell sounds like a straight edge band from New Jersey or something.
Exactly.
So what would be your favorite tune off this album?
I would say that what would become more of Lagwagon afterward is Angry Days.
Angry Days, all right.
More melodic, and I believe this is what would Lagwagon and this skate punk will become.
Yeah, cool. All right, so then what do you got for us?
My 3 picks today, I chose to speak about 2 new bands that I discovered recently. So it's like their first album.
Okay.
And I decided also to speak about one band that I really, really enjoy for a long time now. Which one should I talk first?
Go ahead, your pick.
I think I go with Brutalism.
Oh, Idols, yes.
I listened to that today.
I love so much Idols. I discovered them during the pandemic, and it was really a huge. I have a huge crush on them. And that album, I think it was like a really good start to what we know now. And it was an album that was so much in my face, so much in your face. Like it's so raw and so powerful. And like it's also a bit of romantic but also really political, so I really loved that sound about it. And yeah, that's pretty much why I chose it, because it was really a good album that was like a good announce for what was to come. So
And that's all, can say that. And we talked about it. This band, and one of the band I'll be talking about it later on, they already are influential in the scene, and this album really kicked in.
yeah,
really well.
exactly. And I think it's like now a classical from all their discography, I think. So-
Normally, you have a 10-year anniversary repress. They did a 5-year anniversary repress.
exactly.
Yeah, on red vinyl. Yeah. It's really
And-
good. Like, yeah. Have you listened? You listened to the live album that they put out
Oh my god, yeah,
at the
it's like one of
Becka?
my favorite of them.
Yeah, it's really good. I think their live performance does these songs so much more justice.
Oh,
Because like you said, the rawness of it just lends itself so well to a live performance, and his voice is just
it's
fantastic live. Yeah.
You're talking about it, and I have shivers right now because I
Yeah.
remember feeling like they also did a live performance. Like what a show! For the new album, they did a show at like I think it was. I don't remember it, but anyways, it was so good, so raw.
Oh, you
so
mean for it was a late show?
yeah, the
They
late
did-
show. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And-
like an SNL type thing where
Yeah,
they come on and just do like one tune. Okay.
yeah, exactly. And it was
Really.
mind blowing.
Great
So
performance.
I can wait to see them in
Actually,
Montreal.
they don't want us to see them because they always come in at either at first part or in big festivals. You
Yeah.
don't want to go to Oshé. I got
Yeah. I was toying with the idea last year, and I was like, nah.
No,
No.
and like
But
the
they,
crowd and like oh, no.
I got to get my passport again because they were playing in Boston. I would have drove down to Boston to go see them. Yeah.
Please take-
What if you had to pick one song off the album? What would it be?
I really love Date Night.
Date Night. Okay.
Really good song, really also powerful. I like the lyrics too, so that would be my favorite song on that album.
Awesome. Love it. All right, Becca, you're up next. What you got for us? What you going with?
Okay, I'll start with Slipknot's debut. Their self-titled.
Slipknot.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
Nice.
here's the thing. So Slipknot is one of those bands where, I heard about them wherever I went. I would see people with their merch, but I kind of slept on them. So it wasn't until like All Hope Is Gone, that album cycle, that I started to pay attention to them. And going back at their discography and the self-titled. Oh yeah, and the other thing too, I was at Niagara Falls Comic-Con, and one of my commissions from that weekend was Slipknot, but from the
Nice.
self-titled era. And so I'm like, okay, that was with all those things together. I'm like, it's a sign. I should check out Slipknot like as a whole. And I'm like, how did I sleep on this band? Because I was already a metalhead and really into like more obscure stuff, but I hadn't really paid attention to anything from the new metal category for a while. But
Yeah.
there's something different about Slipknot. Like even to this day, they're their own thing. It's like the music, the imagery. I love that they change their look for every album cycle. But anyway, it's self-titled. Also, so say whenever I have a tight deadline and I'm really angry about it, Slipknot's my go-to, and it's always the self-titled debut because it's got the right kind of energy. Yeah, let's do this, and I'm pumped for the rest of the deadline day or night, whatever it is. And
their aggressivity feels good. Like
Yes.
when you're super mad, that's a really good go-to.
yes, precisely that. So it's great. Anger, catharsis, and creative energy all in one go. And then I start there and I go through the rest of their albums. But yeah, I don't know what it is about that debut. It's just, it hits you in the face. It's, despite how old it is, it's a classic in my opinion. Like it's
Senior year for me, man. I remember when this out. I remember when this was a brand new album. Yeah, it was. It really lit a torch under a lot of people's asses. I mean, it was huge when it came out. I remember kids went shit crazy over this, and for good reason. I mean, like, there's some good jammers on this. It's as far as new metal albums go, you can't really do any better than probably this and maybe like the first Korn album, I would say, maybe.
Yeah.
But
this is
right
like...
away when I see them, I'm thinking they listened to Korn's "Freak on a Leash" and they took it literally and like dressed up in those wacky outfits. And they're like, "All right, let's take this literally, and we'll just dress like a bunch of freaks on stage and just go crazy," you know, like. Yeah, and I mean it worked. People noticed them, right? These guys come dressed like as these, almost looks like the Brady Bunch of serial killers, right? You know, so it's definitely visually a very impressive band when you see them either in a video or on stage or.
Yeah. Am I watching a horror movie? Am I listening to music? Am I doing both? It's like for that time was like really.
You're getting the whole you're getting the whole package with these
exactly
guys. So and it's just never a dull moment with them, and it's one of those debuts where I'm angry that I missed out on this debut at the beginning. It's just that special, it's that incredible. Like I don't know how many other adjectives I can describe this, but it's to this day it's still my go-to, you know.
Yeah, like new metal was a little bit after my time, but I still listen to a little bit of it, you know. I still appreciate it, and I've seen him, the frontman, I can't remember his name. Yeah, he's a big horror fan, like buff, and he's been on a few documentaries where they've interviewed him about horror movies and stuff. So it makes sense, like that they dressed up on stage and stuff like that. It definitely had a huge influence on him growing up. So
and apparently he's a huge comic book nerd too, and I didn't realize this at the time. But there's some, if you go on YouTube and you find like, I guess you can type like Corey Taylor comic books, and he's like bag and board it, you know, just really passionate about all the cool stuff. So it's like, there was, you know, that's what also makes it cool, you know.
He wrote one for Dark Horse. It was called House of Cold and Bones or something like that, I believe.
Yeah.
Must have been a fun commission to draw though, with the outfits and everything.
It was. It's kind of like, it's like I already done that commission, but it's also my dream commission. I love to draw Slipknot from every era, you know. So please give me that job. So
did you see the post by Daniel Warren Johnson, what he did with his ticket stub from the Converge concert?
I missed that.
He glued it onto a piece of paper and he drew like what's the singer's name?
Jake, right?
Yeah, and him singing with the crowd around the ticket stub and stuff. It's really cool. Go look for it if I were him, I would put a memo out on socials and be like, if you have ticket stubs, mail them to me.
Yeah.
And I'll give it the same treatment I gave my Converge. I'm sure he could make a killing of people sending their ticket stubs in. He could do a commission like with it glued on and mail it back to people. I'm sure people would he'd probably be busy till the day he dies if he did that.
Yeah, probably. Cool. That's awesome.
If you had to pick one song off the album, what would be your go-to?
Well, I guess it's 2 tracks really. It's just the opening and then the first song, because it's just right there. It sets the mood from the get-go. And there's the classics like Wait and Bleed and whatever. But it's just I need just the beginning. It's perfect for me. It's just already I'm like yes. Oh, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love your rage face.
Thank you.
Dude. My dog's howling. There must be an ambulance or a police car coming. Keifer, are you there? Can you hear us? Oh, dude, you sound like he's got the BB going on. You got the digital voice going, man. Well, BB. All right, we'll come back to you, man. We'll come back to you. All right, Johnny Mats, that means you're up.
I got
Oh yeah. Classic.
And Stings of Conscience by Unearth. Pretty much for like a lot of the same reasons Becka talked about Slipknot. It's just my ass kicker album. Like I put it on and just from the start, like every riff is just magnificent. Like I'm a huge fan of like that era of hardcore out of New York and everything. From the East Coast, it was very metallic. But like Unearth took it even further by putting like in that Swedish death metal harmonic guitar riffing constantly, and this thing is just glorious. I can put it on and it just makes me want to go out and do stuff. You know what I mean? It's totally the go touch grass album. Like makes me work out. It makes me do a lot of stuff I don't normally do unless like I have some good motivation behind it. And yeah, just the wonderful riffing and the howling from Trevor just gets me off my damn ass. And like I can't recommend this album highly enough, especially if you like like really good like metal hardcore, but like with like a touch more death metal to it. Like you can't go much wrong. You can't go wrong at all with Unearth. But like this album in particular, this debut, it really just shows off their skills at an early because like I remember I first found out about them with their second album. What was it? Oncoming Storm, which was their Metal Blade album, which was really, really good. And like when I saw that they had an album before it, I thought, oh, it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? But like, I actually think Stings of Conscience bodies Oncoming Storm. Like, I think it's actually a better album just because of the rawness of it and just the fury of it. Like, it is just an impressive little debut, which just showed them showing up with all their tools, showing the world what they could do, what they were ready for, and that they were not playing around. They were just going to show you how badass they were from Jump Street. There was no building up for the band. Like they just were fucking ready to go.
Yeah.
I gave this a listen this morning and I really enjoyed it. I prefer my music to lean a little more on the hardcore side than the metal. So this was definitely nice for me. I like it. It just had little touches of the metal, like you said, the death metal type stuff in it, but it definitely leaned more towards the hardcore. So I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, but like all their stuff, they did get embraced more by the metal scene than the hardcore scene. So they kind of do. Some of their albums are a little more thrashy and a little more deathy. But like the vocal style doesn't really change too much.
It's just clean enough, right? Like I like my vocals to be just a little more on the clean side, and it's just clean enough for me that I dug it. Yeah. What song would you say would you pick from this album, Johnny?
Only the People, track 4, just for that guitar breakdown in the middle. Like it probably has the best one on the whole album, which is saying something because like the whole thing is it's like a guitar album. You just put it on and just are amazed. And the cool thing about it is all their riffs are actually pretty simple. They weren't too hard for me to learn once I got into playing downtune and stuff like that. So that's another really cool thing about the band is like they sound like they're playing this really impressive stuff, but like a lot of it is pretty easy tricks. So God bless them, you know what I mean? They're just badass.
Hey, sometimes less is more, right? So
for real.
Yeah. Cool. Love the pick, man. All right, so my turn. I'll go with a classic. I'll go with Violent Femmes' debut. Nice. This is pretty much for me close to a perfect album.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a little bit of everything. I mean, it's unique. It's got its own sound. As soon as you hear it, the singer's voice is unique. You don't mistake him for anyone else. The songs are fun. Some are fast. Some are silly. I mean, there's a little bit of everything for everyone in this. I mean, it's got a like folk, punk, pop. I mean, it's got a little mix, a little taste of everything in it, really, right? Like, so, I mean, if you're gonna own one album from the Violent Femmes, it would be their debut. And I mean, I could pick
so many of their best tracks on it. Like
Blister in the Sun, Kiss Off, Add It Up,
Gone Daddy Gone.
Gone Daddy Gone. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, there's not a single song on this album that's a skip for me.
Yeah, Blister in the Sun is like, it's in my top 10 all-time singles.
Yeah. Like, and like 100%. We still hear it today, and it didn't fade. Like I'm always super happy to listen to Blister in the Sun, even if I listen to it like so much time and like since I know them. So yeah.
Yeah. You just want to fire up a John Cusack movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And like 10 years later, like going out to the bars when I was in college, I mean, you're still getting their songs were playing at the bars all the time, and and they put on a free show outside of Concordia University back in the day. So I mean they're a band that's pretty cool. They put on free shows like that, and you know.
I saw them at MTELUS a couple of years ago, and it was super good. It was amazing. Live, they're really, really good.
Or just want to say it's Metropolis. Never say
Yeah. Sacrilege. Yeah, man. So like this album came out in 81, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It came out in 81, so it's been around for a while, and I
am 41
5 years ago.
Yeah,
like this album has a very, for me, if I think of American music, it has a very like American sound. Like it's ingrained in the fabric of American music, right?
They actually did a song called American Music.
American Music, exactly. Later on, after they broke up and got back together, they made that album, and it had American Music on it, which is a fantastic song as well.
Yeah, I discovered them but the album added up to just the compilation.
A great album as well. Yeah.
The Violent Femmes, they take all their equipment on the bus, and you cannot fuck with the Violent Femmes. The intro, man, they take all their equipment on the bus.
Yeah. So that was my first pick.
What song would you have on Joey?
That's a difficult question for you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go with Kiss Off, I think.
Yeah.
I'd go Add It Up.
Or Add It Up. What I mean, it's Blister. Fuck. It's hard to pick.
Do you remember Reality Bites?
Depends.
Gone Daddy Gone also.
Remember Reality Bites? Ethan Hawke saying.
Oh yeah, he played Add It Up. Remember?
Yeah. It was a little like kind of spite song towards the Winona Ryder. Yeah.
Can I get just one fuck? Yeah. Like
Yeah, just one fuck.
Just that's when she was dating Ben Stiller, right?
Yeah,
he was all like bitter about it.
Yeah.
little bitter, angry boy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrien listening to "Hey, That's My Bike." I'm pretty sure like he'd have.
You know what? Listen, I love Ethan Hawke's singing. He does a great job. If you ever watch the movie Juliet Naked, based off the Nick Hornby novel, so he plays this this kind of washed up singer, and he's got a couple tracks in it, and it's fantastic. Like he's a really good singer. Like,
I think he's a big jazz enthusiast. If I remember seeing that somewhere written somewhere. So, yeah. All right, man. One round down. Back to Adrien. What's your second pick, yo?
We'll do the chronological. So let's go 1989. Okay. Before we do this, I just want to kind of back up quickly to the Public Enemy. You asked my favorite track. I said my 98. Technically, it's called "You're Gonna Get Yours," right? But there's there used to be like subtitle, my 98 Oldsmobile. So I'm actually my 98. So if anyone's hate, messaging me that I don't know what I'm talking about,
send all hate mail to Adrien. What's your? It's there on the screen.
yeah. Find me there. So yeah. Anyway, you're gonna get yours. Okay, let's go. My second pick.
Tin Machine.
1989. Okay, so all through junior high, whatever, I did not like David Bowie. My mom was a big David Bowie fan. She went to the Glass Spider tour and whatever. David Bowie always freaked me out as a kid, right? China Girl was a bit of a nightmare for me to watch the video, and Ashes to Ashes and all that. And so I just it wasn't my thing, right? And anyway, so then one day I'm watching Video Hits, on CBC, and all of a sudden there's this band. They're all in suits, right? And there's David Bowie. He's not scary looking. He just looks like this proper frontman. He's in a band. Like it's not David Bowie and Tin Machine. It's just Tin Machine. And then it just kicks into it. right? Heaven's in here. And it's just like, it completely changed my, like that was going right into high school. It just completely changed high school for me. And this is like, this is a couple years before grunge broke, right? So it was almost like a sweetener, kind of sort of get you sort of ready for like the grunge explosion in 91. And anyway, so I was so infatuated with Tin Machine, and that literally was my gateway into David Bowie. And so through Tin Machine, I just devoured anything David Bowie before and everything after, to the point now it's like when David Bowie died, my mom and I like kind of cried on the phone together. You know what I mean? So it kind of got to that point. But anyway, so Tin Machine, so it had, I don't know if you remember, this old comedian from the 50s, 60s called Soupy Sales. So it's his sons were the percussion, and then Reese Gabrels was the guitarist. And Reese Gabrels was just, he was almost like a heavy metal guitarist, like kind of like, you know, balled up into like a traditional rock package. And so Reese Gabrels is actually, he's now touring. He's actually part of the Cure for the last few years now. And man, like this album just smoked me. And it's like, I remember grade 10 in our class, I was doing like Tin Machine fan art, right? And then there was a t-shirt out there that they released that said, "Fuck you, I love Tin Machine." So I was trying to find this shirt. I kind of made my own. And yeah, man, it's just funny. It's like, you know, everybody has their David Bowie moments, right? That kind of got them into it. And this was like mine, which was like, it wasn't a David Bowie project. It was a group project. Like, you know, they all had the, you know, writing credits, and yeah, so they had that. They had the second album, Tin Machine 2, and then they had a live album, Oy Vey Baby, and then that was it. And they shut it down, and he went on to do back to the solo career.
Yeah, this album has a lot of variety in it.
Oh, it's all over the map. Yeah, they do
song
John.
Song, yeah,
they do Working Class Hero, John Lennon cover, and it's all over the map, right? And you know, and it's funny. It's like, when you listen to it, you don't focus on Bowie. You just focus on a band. You know, it's amazing how, because like, you know, the man's a chameleon, right? Like he changed every like so many years, right? And this is just another, you know, another whatever of him. And yeah, he just completely disappeared in this group of four, and just amazing too. And I love the look too. You know what I mean? I love the look too, because like, you know, you didn't see guys come out in suits since like, I don't know, like, you know, the fucking Beatles, right? So just to kind of see these guys like dressed up like they're going to the office, and, you know, and just absolutely smoking it.
Yeah.
What song would you pick off this album?
Oh, the title track. It's like 100% Tin Machine, the title track. The guitar riff is just, it's from another planet. And it'll make you a Reeves Gabrels fanatic at that point on, that you're going to just like, you're going to try to find whatever you can.
Did they tour much for this album?
Yeah, so they did tour. So they toured both albums, right? And of course, they put out the live album. And then after, when they broke up, Gabrels actually was Bowie's tour guitarist. And actually, he was also the studio guitarist as well. And I think he kind of co-wrote some songs in that. So they maintained a working relationship, because he's just that good. He's just that good of a guitarist.
Nice. Did you get to see Tin Machine live, or?
No, I never. No, they never came to Edmonton. Fuck, who comes to Edmonton?
I don't know.
I don't know exactly, right? There you go.
It's big enough city, you know?
That's big enough. It's big enough. Yeah, I mean, Bowie did come here, you know, I think once, and yeah, the Glass Spider tour. I think that was the only time he came here.
You guys had your own episode of South Park, though. That's kind of big for Canada. Like,
do you really?
Yeah, the episode where the Princess of Canada got kidnapped, and like they met at the Big Tree in Edmonton to fight against Tooth Decay. You don't remember that?
I never watched South Park. I never watched the Big Tree.
Yeah, the Big Tree in Edmonton by the mall.
Where the fuck's the Big Tree?
Because of the mall, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we got the big mall, yeah. But
yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so back down to Maxim, I guess. We'll keep it in order.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the second one, I'll go also in chronological order. We'll go with Trice, The Artist in the Ambulance. This is the revisited version that just came out this year, and they are touring for this album at the same time. Why I choose this album? It probably marked a change also in what I was listening. For them, it's their third album, though it's not the first one, but it's the first release on a major. They just switched to Island when they were touring for Illusion of Safety. They were approached by a lot of the major labels. I believe some of the major wanted to get in the bagging of the emo scenes that was blowing up a bit, and they wanted to try to do something to regroup some of the band. I know that what they wanted to do, what they say that wanted to bring up Trice and Thursday and try to do a movement as big as the grunge. And we know that it didn't work, but at least it was a sub scene that did work at least. But you know, the artist in the ambulance way is important because I believe it brought to me a lot of emotion. It's a nice album. The text there is really, really good. And also it marked the fact that I changed from a lot of skate punk rock. I was tired of it. And it's something musically, you have a lot of things that is going on through this album. Within a song, you'll be more pop punk, then you'll go to hardcore. There's even riff that can go to thrash metal. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that, but when preparing for today, when they were releasing recording the album, they based themselves on the vocal melody, and they started from there. And from there, they decided to bring out the instruments. Instead of trying to patch the different riff or in different style, they really decided to record based on the melody. It's an album that is really important, and I'm really happy because I'm going to see them actually tomorrow, and they are playing the whole album. I believe it's nothing that has really been said. I don't think that in the scene itself, it's not an album that would say I've made a big impact or a huge impact on it, but in the Trice fans, I believe this is one that everyone is keeping to heart, even if afterwards they decide to go in really other ways. Because if you took the album Beggars, they bring up more blues. It's an album that really bluesy riff, and they're always bring back their roots from the post-hardcore scene, but still they try a lot of things. It's a band I really like. And then there's Dustin Kenru, that his voice is amazing. His cover from what's the song that she's swinging on a big
Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball, yeah. His cover.
Dustin Kenru, yeah, I love that cover. That's a great cover.
That's really great cover.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I like his solo stuff, man. It's more like on the bluesy side and stuff. Like I dig it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
No, but it's that guy that decided to stick, and they said it between Illusion of Safety and this album that was the first major. They wanted the fan to stay there or not be unhappy because they changed that much. So they did bring up a bit of what Trice would be. Trice tried pretty much everything. The Alchemy Index is shutting in every direction and for every small part of it. So this one marks a turn, or at the same time, the best album in their style that they were with the post-hardcore style. Really love it.
With the revisited version, I was really impressed with the remaster. I usually don't go in for that type of stuff. It doesn't impress me, but like, oh my God, is it actually like even a harder hitting album? Now the remastered version, it is gorgeous.
They just made a fault. They did not print the lyrics in the right orders, but this album has a misprint for the first orders, so all the first vinyls that came out as misprint and
are misprints.
Yeah.
So sell it and just buy another copy. You could sell that one and buy like 3 other copies of other vinyls.
Oh no, that misprinted one might be worth something. Plus, it's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, sell the misprint. Then you could go buy more vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought about that. But misprints apparently don't get more values because
no.
Normally they get.
Wait cheaper. A little while. No problem.
Here it says it's released. What was it released on originally? The major.
Originally 2003. It's 20 years now.
Yeah, that came out like in the glory days of that whole post emo hardcore era with Thursday and.
Here it says Def Jam though. Is that who released it originally? Def Jam.
Originally, it's on Island.
Yeah.
Records.
Okay.
Def Jam is a part of Island Records. I know that.
Okay, so it's just another.
Probably the sub.
Because here it says. Island Def Jam Music Group. Okay. All right. Cool.
So, and if we have to pick a song, it's probably the self-titled. I'm just waiting to hear this song probably tomorrow, and everyone singing at the same time. The start of this song, "The Artist in the Ambulance," probably gonna be
Epic.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Very
Before we
good.
get to Celine, I'm going to see if Keifer is.
Of course, yeah.
Are you here, buddy?
I think you're on mute.
I'm definitely here. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yes, we hear you loud and
Oh,
clear. BB's gone, man. BB's gone. We got Keifer here now.
Finally.
How's it going, man?
Apologies. Australia's apparently still sticking with the same old thing of having the worst internet connection in the world. So there's that. But going good, guys. Going good.
So you were here for the introduction, so we'll introduce you. We have Keifer Findlow here. He's the co-writer and co-creator of Metalhead Drum.
Heavy metal drummer.
Heavy Metal Drummer. I'm getting it mixed up with Dylan's book. That came out from Sumerian Comics, originally with Behemoth when it originally came out, which is now Sumerian Comics. And the second arc, Heavy Metal Yakuza, should be coming out within the next year. So how's it going, Keifer, man?
Good to be here. It's obviously bright and early-ish over here on my side of the world. If you can tell from the light.
Yeah.
Doing good. Just happy to be here, guys. And hello to everybody. Sorry for missing the introduction earlier. But yeah, we're just working hard on Heavy Metal Yakuza at the moment. We've hopefully got some news coming down the pipeline. So yeah, definitely been going with that quite strongly.
All right. So we're playing catch up here with you. So did you want to let him do one and then we'll run it back through, Johnny?
Would that be all right with you, Celine?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
So then he'll be able to get all caught up. So we'll let you do your first pick, Keifer, seeing as how you missed the first round, and then we'll come back with Celine, Becka, and we'll hit you again in two more.
No worries.
Awesome. Rapid fire, all good. Cool. So my first pick, I don't have a copy of any of these with me. So
Johnny has all the pictures loaded, so just pick one and all right,
so
cool.
I'm picking Wolf Mother.
Wolf Mother, nice.
Which is actually probably a good pick because it does take some. The album art is from Frank Fanzetta. If I'm pronouncing that right. The Conan artwork dude. So I don't know how familiar anyone is with Wolf Mother. Wolf Mother was a Sydney band that released this album in 2005. And it was massive in Australia in 2005. So this is kind of an album from when I was 15. And just sort of came out with this sort of neo-psychedelic hard rock, stoner rock vibe, and some really obviously retro 70s hard rock jams, lots of really distorted guitar, some really cool arrangements and compositions. It was massive here for a long time, and they kind of disappeared for a little bit.
They broke big for a while here. Like that song "Woman" was huge.
Yeah, and Liars and Joker and the Thief
in the Night.
Yeah,
got a lot of
over here for a bit.
A lot of playtime on the radios here. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Wolf
those
came out.
The biggest. Yeah.
It was like someone came up to you and kicked you right in the asshole. It was just like the impact of this band was just and the voice too. Like, my God, man, this guy can like blow up birds with his voice. Like,
yeah, absolutely crazy. And it was one of those things of like in Australia, like obviously coming from our rich rock music background of AC/DC and things like that. This came out and kind of really hit that spot of like the Australian rock scene, just like went nuts for it.
I love rock that comes out of Australia. Hey, like the Chats. Was the Chats, right?
Chats from down here. We've got such a great music scene. Unfortunately, a lot of bands don't get to travel overseas and have that exposure. That's why it's so hard to know whether or not an Australian band has actually succeeded overseas or had hits, because we don't really hear about it. Kind of this little fishbowl where it gets really big here. But yeah, that when I think of debut albums and a band that just sort of exploded onto the scene that I saw happen was definitely here. Was more, one we talked about was Get Back. I think on the last interview, I didn't want to quite go for Jet because I quite like this a bit more than Jet's debut album. Even though I do like the songs a lot, I really this one, like when it came out, it was huge, and I guess like I had a bit of a antithetical nature, so I was like, that's all right. But then over time, I keep going back to it, and I keep finding more songs, and it's like, what? This came out in 2005, like this song that wasn't a single, or it just keeps popping back up. And as time's gone on, I really dig it, and I think it's a really strong first album from a band that really like cemented a fairly unique sound for the time. There wasn't a lot in 2005, especially here, that was coming out or like that. But riffing and still on that like Living End kind of vibe. So you kind of crashed it like Living End and AC/DC together, and a couple other Australian bands. You kind of get Wolf Mother. If I was going to pick one song off it, I'd say White Unicorn is probably my favorite. It's the one I go back to the most. I think it's got a great composition, great guitar, and yeah, the lead singer's voice is just like howling. So love it.
I was really happy when I saw you pick this, because like I was legitimately playing Saints Row 2 the other day, and like I was hearing the song Woman, and I was like, whatever happened to these guys? They were huge. I remember their hair, and I remember like them playing the song Mother everywhere with their big hair, and like I was like,
they had an album like last year.
Oh, did they really?
I swear, yeah, honest to God, I swear they put out an album not too long ago.
I hadn't heard anything from them for like ever, so yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. My memory of it was there was some kind of issue after the album came out, and they had a little tiny like rocky period, or some of the members of the band left and the lead singer continued. So something like that happened. They really fell off the radar here a lot after that first album. Like so yeah, they released the album in 2021. It looks of it.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah.
That's one thing you can always count on with bands, right? Friction and fighting, right? That's one thing you can always count on with bands is the drama within the band.
You can probably count a lot of Australian bands as well because of how much we drink. So, I mean, we were talking about the Vines last time, and then the Vines were another band that broke up, and then
were the Vines around the same time as Wolf Mother?
Yeah,
a little bit
before. It was like those are the Vines, and then Jet, and I think around the same time that I think the Hives came out around that time too. It was like
the Vines. I went and saw the Aussie Invasion tour was Vines, Jet, and the Living End when they came to Montreal, and that was a pretty good show.
The Vines were a bit before. They came out like
they were a little bit
the
before.
Strokes, and like Wolf Mother kind of came out around the time like emo was kind of not becoming popular anymore, like when that was falling off. So like
it was like 2005 or something like that. That's when like the Strokes came out with like the Yeah Yeahs were the same time, and Interpol, and the whole like, kind of like a New York kind of vibe.
Yeah, that whole 60s indie rock throwback style.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say Wolf Mother's like definitely more 70s.
They're traditionalists.
There's not a lot of that melodic piano that Jet kind of introduced and stuff. But yeah, again, much like Living End. So I think the Vines, I think, was like 2003, sort of.
A little bit before,
around there, and then Wolf Mother was like 2005. So I think like Wolf Mother, like that album for me here in Australia was kind of like one of the last big sort of rock albums that was really big, I guess, here. So things started to kind of go off the cliff a little bit after that.
Another thing is like they're always really young when they come from Australia. Like the Vines were teenagers. I think
Silverchair
were they were like junior high school. When they
Kylie Minogue.
So yeah, that's another weird thing about Australia is like they get famous young over there, man. Like, go for it when you're still in elementary school.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a band called Operator Please, I think, that was even New Zealand or Australian, that was like 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and they had like a rock violin player. So we do get them young. I think we have a really strong music culture, and our live performance culture is really strong as well. So a lot of bands do their hard yards really quick, and will normally be able to get into radio play and things. So there's a lot of really good programs here around that. So it's one of the areas we do actually feed our artists and get them out into the world with. It's just everywhere else that the country sort of sucks about.
What's funny, little like we're talking about Australian music, so this is like I'm gonna age me. So anyway, so I love Men at Work, right? And it's funny every time like we'll play like we'll throw a YouTube kind of thing on, right? We'll kind of let videos play, and every time Who Can It Be comes on, my daughter be in the room. I'm like, wait, and I'd be like, who can it be knocking at my door? And we do the clap every time, right? She's like, fuck off, right? Anyway,
yeah. Gotta love those father-daughter relationships.
I love that saxophone lead, man. God.
I'm at the point now, honestly, where I just don't care. I'll listen to, I don't give a fuck, right? And it's like, Yeah, man. I went through like this big last year. I don't know what it is. I dug into like Men at Work back catalog, and my wife's like, "Why?" And I just like just started like hammering out Men at Work, like oh.
Man, they got some great songs. I've got a couple of their albums on vinyl. There's actually some really great compositions in there. I really love
Right?
Overkill. Is probably my favorite
Oh.
song of theirs because of the soulful vocals and the sax and there's some really cool ones.
Yeah, it's a
The
mistake.
song they have
Oh
about
my
a
God.
mental asylum, I think, as well. That's really cool. Industrial disease. Like,
Well, I'm
it's
trying to
this
get
weird,
it's
like
funny.
upbeat, funky, and fun song.
Oh, and it's funny. Like I posted, I was trying to get these guys. You know, we're gonna like learn like the little dance montage in Land Down Under. You know, when like the three guys in the back are doing like that kind of thing. So kind of set it up on the screen and that stuff.
And so as long as you do the hacky sack dance, Adrian, I'm
Fucking right. I'll do it. I don't give a shit.
All right, so we'll swing it back around to Celine. All right, Celine. So what's your second pick?
My second pick is Miranda and the Beats.
Miranda and the Beats. Yes.
It's a new band. I discovered them like a month ago. They were playing with Taxi Girls, that is a tiny band from Montreal also that do punk.
Band to watch for, honestly. Can't wait for them to release their album. We're probably going to be really good.
Yeah. And it's more like it's two girls that have started this band at first place. The singer is Miranda Zips, and the drummer is Kim the Beat Solisto. So that's why they called Miranda and the Beats. And they started like they are high school dropout. Miranda stopped high school at 15, and she was just like, I want to do rock and roll, so I'm gonna do rock and roll. So. They were living in New York, and they speak with two other guys to form the band that we know now. And it's really super good. It's really rock and roll, really suave rock and roll. When you listen to the album, it's like a soundtrack from a Tarantino movie. You want to be in the desert with like smoking weed and like super hot weather and stuff like that's the vibe. They get, and it's their starting album, so I'm really super stoked for the future for this band. They also toured with the Kin Can and Barbecue Show. This is a great band from Montreal too. So yeah, that's the start of that band, and I'm really stoked.
But she said, about the feel of a desert, but you really feel the New York vibes within their music. You know that they're from New York.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's this kind of New York vibes that you can feel. The Ramones also brought when they started, but this is something you also feel in the music when you're listening to this song.
And I find the keyboards are well incorporated into the tunes too. Like there's a lot of keyboard work in it, and it.
Yes.
I'm not usually the biggest fan, but I mean it fits really well in the album. When I listened to it, I was like, it didn't stand out in a bad way. Like you're like, oh man, that it just adds to like the layers of the song,
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And he plays with a really old keyboard. It's like
I found almost like the Doors. It has a similar. The keyboard has the same sound as the keyboard from the Doors. Yeah.
And, at the show, it was really it was a beige keyboard, beige plastic, and like super. Not that big, but like not that small either. But like it was a really old school one, a vintage one, and it adds a lot it adds a lot for their sound. So
yeah, gives it kind of a little more of that throwback kind of sound and vibe to it. Yeah,
probably got an old Korg or something like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we like it, but we also hope for her that dropping out from school for rock and roll will work.
Will work, yeah.
Will work out. Hey, that's an old school way of doing it too. Like back in the 70s, a lot of people just fuck school, fuck everything. I'm just gonna do the rock thing, and
exactly.
She could go on Dr. Phil and be an idiot and get it. That's already worked in the music business. So.
So what's one of the songs you'd recommend off this album?
I really liked "I'm Not Your Baby" because it has like the duality of the lyrics and how she sings it. I think like she sounds a little bit bratty. I'm not your baby, but I want to be your baby. So I really like that duality that was in this song. So yeah, that's my pick.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Becca, we're back to you. What's your second pick?
Okay, so my second pick is a metal band, Job for a Cowboy, and their EP, Doom. So I picked this one because this was a time period where there was this, I don't know, this transition from, usually I found bands like from TV or magazines or whatever, but this was like the beginning of, I was finding more stuff on the internet, this is where MySpace was popular and all that. And I was finding more music on YouTube. And so anyway, at one of the Comic-Cons, I met another metalhead, and I was really into like bands like Narmagene, and I was discovering Whitechapel and bands like that. And she's like, "Have you heard of Job for a Cowboy?" I'm like, "What? Oh, yeah. There's seriously a band with that name?"
Yeah,
and she's like, "Yeah." And the one song, he screams like a girl. I'm like, I have to check this out. So I looked them up on YouTube, and there's Entombment of a Machine with the Scream sample, and I'm like, this is awesome. So, and then like, and I find it interesting because this is their only deathcore release, and after this EP, they switched to death metal after they signed to Metal Blade Records, and they've done modern death metal ever since. And also I picked them because they've been quiet for a while, but there's rumors that there may be a new album coming out, and I'm excited about that. If hopefully it happens sooner than later. But anyway, yeah. So Doom, it's just I also consider it a modern classic because of the time period it came out in, and it spawned. It just became so popular everywhere in the metal part of the internet. Lots of kids were doing covers of the song, like drum covers, vocal covers. Some trying to do the scream. It's always that song. And the pig squeals were the other big highlight of this album.
My wife's like, we're riding in the car and it was turned down a little bit for some reason. I was listening to it on the way. I went and picked her up. She's like, sounds like pigs. I was like, yeah, you're right. There's probably some pigs.
Yeah, and then after this EP, the vocalist Johnny Davey never did another pig squeal after this album. So, and then there's other things happen, including the going to classic YouTube videos. There's if you look up the song "Knee Deep" in SpongeBob SquarePants, it's still there. I
remember that.
Yeah, it's timed perfectly.
It really works good with the SpongeBob episode.
Yeah. I looked it up last night, and I'm like, yes, it's still there.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's yeah. But anyway, since the EP, I still love this band a lot, from their ridiculous name to their discography, and just they strive to. What I admire about them is that they allow themselves to evolve their sound, and to like as loved as the Doom EP is, they were like, we want to move away from that. We want to develop our own sound and not be pigeonholed into this box, So I admire them greatly for that. And it's even my ringtone still.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. The part with the scream, and then the rest of the song that follows. So yeah.
Cool. So what was the song you said you'd pick off this album?
Well, two of them, just Entombment of a Machine and Knee Deep. But I love the whole EP in general. Like, for a debut, and like they were really young at the time. I think I'm not sure how old they were. I think they were still teens at the time when this EP came out. But to me, it's an impressive debut for.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, if they're just teens playing this, that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
I mean, and even though they ditched the scene after it, this album was really influential in the deathcore, like using the samples and stuff like that, and kind of the really kind of juvenile, erratic style to it with the ups. Like a lot of bands really, really emulated the sound that this band came up with on this, and it's kind of funny that they were like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna go kind of be more proggy now."
Yeah. And just after you you saying that, yeah, there was a whole slew of deathcore bands that came after this, trying to copy the sound. Lots of
the logo, the long name, nonsensical name, yeah.
And the pig squeals too. Other people, if they're not doing it anymore, let's try that. Let's be the next vocalist, like who can do these pig squeals and all that. So, it's a cultural moment to me anyway in the deathcore scene. For sure.
And they always had the raddest T-shirts, man. Like Job,
Yes,
never skimped on the merch, man.
I still have the Job T-shirt in my closet, and like I have to be careful when I wear it. It's like the only band T-shirt I have. Like I will get stopped in the street by some random guy, like, yeah, Job for a cowboy. I'm like, oh. And it's like I go to my closet and I'm like, I want to wear this today, but like I don't feel like talking to anyone. Or I put a sweater over because somebody's gonna stop me because I'm wearing this Job for a cowboy T-shirt. But yeah, they do have the coolest merch, the coolest T-shirts.
Oh yeah. I think John Dyer Baisley drew one of their designs for their shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember knowing them on MySpace too. That brings me back. But it's a really good band you picked.
They actually found me and friended me. You know what I mean? I didn't even have to go look for them, which was like the cool thing. Like,
That's awesome.
Both them and Suicide Silence, they were like, "Hey, check us out!" Because
oh my God, Suicide Silence! It's been a while.
Man, Mitch Looker.
Yeah, rest in peace, kid, man. Like,
yeah, the nostalgia. But there's but yeah, I don't think deathcore would be where it is even today without this EP.
Yeah,
by far. Like you wouldn't have like bands like Lorna Shore. Well, are they deathcore? It's hard to tell. They're kind of all over the place. But you wouldn't get vocalists like Will Ramos and a bunch of others if it wasn't for this EP. Like it was just so influential to the scene.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Keifer, we're back to you. Now you're all caught up. What's your second pick?
So my second pick is another Australian band, but from my hometown of Melbourne. So Midnight Juggernauts, Dystopia. I don't know if anyone's familiar with these guys. They don't exist anymore, as far as I know. They haven't been active for quite a while, but they were a little indie sort of Melbourne band I picked up on one of our community music shows when I was 14 or so. They had an EP come out, I think, in 2005 as well, around the time Wolfman was out. But I'm going to rip a quote from the Wikipedia page to kind of describe them, which is /a flick disco. They do some really strange stuff. So that the first album feels a lot like a throw of like EPs together, but I dig it a lot. It's got some really cool electronic sounds and a lot of really difficult compositions to kind of like classify. So it's this really unique blend of different flavors and things, and it does have this film score-esque type things. There's a lot of droning synths in parts of songs that might go for like a short second, but they feel really out of place in this kind of like electronic and synth pop dance thing that they're doing. But I've always loved it. It's always one that's come back around to me. And there's this song in particular called Shadows, which as I was learning how to play bass was like one of my inspirations to like keep learning, because it's got a really funky bass line that I liked. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about these guys actually. They did release a second album that was really cool, but this album it was one of the first albums where I'd actually followed a band from EP to kind of like LP. Where I had picked up the two sort of indie EP runs they'd had, and was kind of like really waiting, and then this album kind of dropped, and the kind of expansion of sounds and different types of sounds, and they think improved on it in the second album, to be honest. But as a debut film was like really important to me, and musically as well, because it fed into playing music and sort of because I was doing keys and bass. Kind of, having a band that's doing a lot of synthy, like that Tangerine Dream kind of sound mixed in with some real funk and some dance. It wasn't something that I would normally gravitate towards at that age, but it really kind of gave me like a different perspective on music in a way, which is strange to say. But I really wanted to represent these guys because I think it's a great debut album. I think it's got something on there that everyone would like. But they're one of those Melbourne bands that unfortunately just didn't get enough traction and fell off. But yeah, definitely recommend listening to it, and at least Shadows, because it's just got a cool funky bass line.
Cool. Yeah, when I was listening to it, I was like, if disco is still a thing, I think this is probably what it would have evolved into, was like what you hear from this band, right? Like, because disco died in like the 70s. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
if
like
it would have
taking disco in
continued
the
and
80s
evolved,
stuff.
it definitely would have probably morphed into this. And it's kind of cool to see a band kind of. It's interesting because as a band, you're playing this kind of music, right? It's almost like taking more of a risk than going with something more alternative or rock or punk or this or that, because how many people actually listen to like disco style music? Or and it's almost like I felt like it was like a mix of like a little bit prog disc, like you said, there's a lot of different influences on it, and you can hear it from song to song. It was definitely a weird mix, like you said, like from yeah,
Yeah,
bunch of
it's
different
real
influences.
strange. I think that's right. Like in terms of like it being this kind of like 80s prog disco mashup type thing.
Yeah.
It's strange, and there wasn't really anything in Australia like I remember at the time being like it. We had a lot of dance stuff, but nothing that was kind of like doing that fusion. So like yeah, and I love prog rock, as you guys like I discussed last time, and yeah, it just gravitated towards me straight away. It had a really strange retro video clip as well, like, and yeah, I'm really disappointed these guys aren't still going. I think they could have done a lot more. The second album, I think, built upon it a lot. I think they were definitely gaining momentum and complexity in their compositions, and then just no support there. I think, like you said, who listens to disco? So it's that kind of thing of where do you carve out in a market for that when you're doing something very eclectic and strange, which is great. Like especially Melbourne, we do a lot of eclectic, strange music, and again, it doesn't last long, but yeah, really odd. So
Yeah, so that's cool, man. You learned your bass from listening to this band. That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
well,
I'll
I
have to
sucked
re-
a lot
I'll
myself, so I
definitely
had
have
to
to.
like
Yeah, I'll,
get as many risks as I could.
I'll have to re-listen to the Shadows song a little more closely now that you said that was one of the songs you started learning your bass on. So that's cool. Yeah. All right, Johnny, man, what you got going on for your second pick? Whoa.
Oh, look at this! Look at this guy.
Yeah, I remember when this was a brand new album. Like I was just learning how to smoke weed, and there was really nothing quite like this when it came out. I was like into hip hop. I liked a lot of it, but the problem I had was there was a lot of filler on albums. There was a lot of stuff I'd skip, like songs that just carried on for too long, or really bad skits. And when this came out, there was no skipping. It was just like one of the first hip hop albums that I think I owned that like I could listen to all the way through, and just enjoy what they were saying. Like I literally like would pick up on like all the little metaphors and syllogies and stuff like that, and I really just enjoyed the fact that like it was a bunch of guys all trying to outdo each other constantly. Like everybody's line was trying to be better than the last guy's rhyme, and I love that kind of odd camaraderie while at the same time being rivals. I thought that made for a really interesting musical project, and I think that's why this album in particular was so strong, because like they were all so hungry and they were all trying to prove themselves as the raddest dude in the crew. And I think that's why every single track shines. And I mean, like you just put this thing on, and like the first three songs do just a great job of showing you like this is what all the guys on the group are. This is what they can do. Now sit down, shut up, and enjoy the rest of the show. And you get a good one, man. You get like so many bangers off this album. Like the whole thing is quotable. The whole thing is, every song off of it at this point, like because every one of them has gone on to become a hit in its own right, and for good reason, because they just all showed up on this album. They knew that they wanted to make something important, something impactful, and they nailed it out of the park. I mean,
Yeah, I'm happy you picked this because I was toying with picking it, and I'm actually watching the show right now. So, and they're actually at the part where they're putting this album together on the show. So, when I was listening to the album now today, like while I was at work, I was like, oh, okay. So then I'm making references to all the stuff I've seen in the show, the kind of the process and what was going on in the background during the production of this album. So I had a lot of context to it as I was listening to it. So that's pretty cool.
oh, One of the greatest.
Yep.
What's the show you're watching?
The Wu-Tang biopic. It's on
It's called American
Disney.
Legacy, right? It's on
American Legacy, the Wu-Tang story or something like that, or the Wu-Tang, yeah. And it's on Disney. It's originally Hulu, but I think all the seasons are on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, there's
So,
3, and it goes deep. Like you can learn the backstory, of, like Ghostface Killah and Raekwon a lot. Like they go really deep into them. You learn a lot about the Jizz of the Genius. Like it goes like. By the end of the second season is when they barely start becoming a group, really. Like
they put out their first tape at the end of the season finale of the second season is them just putting together their first tape of
Protect Your Neck.
Protect Your Neck. Yeah, exactly. So
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
It's a really complete show where you really see everything from the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, like their family life, everything. It goes in like
Every
all aspects. Yeah.
Okay.
And all the characters too. Like everybody kind of like I thought that it was just going to kind of be a lot about like Method Man and ODB and RZA because like they're the biggest names, but actually like a lot of the show is about like Ghostface and Raekwon's beef and like it's really cool. Like I didn't know that they were such rivals at the beginning of it, but you can tell when you're listening to them that like they really were trying to one up each other constantly though, which makes the album a lot of fun. Like I said.
Yeah, that came out in 93?
93,
yeah. It's funny.
I remember that.
That was funny. I was like, it's funny, like, because like going through like the 80s and just up to like kind of 1990, I was so into hip hop, and then it's like grunge exploded. I got completely sucked into that, and then I just stopped listening to hip hop, and I missed the Wu-Tang train actually, and I never really caught up.
That whole New York era was so good, man. You had
you had
Mobb Deep, like they all came out. They were all so good, so strong, man. Really,
yeah.
The whole second era New York stuff was amazing. Until Puff Daddy came out and screwed it all up.
God, it was funny though how I just love how hip hop had these pillars, right? Like Public Enemy, and then NWA, and then Wu-Tang, right? Like these 3 like mountains of debuts, right? And hip hop was really bad for like with like it was you never really like bought a hip hop album for the entire album, right? Like they were just so choppy, and you listen to like maybe 2 or 3 tracks, and the rest are just absolute filler.
The problem I had is like they really felt like they were trying to fill out the album, and a lot of album cuts like they would just drag the hook on forever. Like the song would be like 7 minutes, and it was just the chorus over and over again. Like, move the fuck on.
What song would you put down for this one?
Oh man, that is a good question. Let me look really fast because.
See, I got into them more with the other album. What was it? Forever?
I can't say. Yeah, the second album is really good. I mean, it might even be a better album, but like for a debut, this is hella good. I can't say the whole name of the album, but I'll just call it Shame. It's the second track.
Okay.
That one's just so much fun. It's Method Man, ODB being clowns, just having a good time. Like, oh, Dirty Bastard totally says he keeps shit stank in his drawer so he could get fresh and funky for you. Like, I don't even know what that means, but like it's romantic.
Yeah. All right. That's good, man. Yeah. All right. So it's back to me for my second pick. I'm going to stay with the theme, man. So I'm going to go with Hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics, man. This is a similar idea to the Wu-Tang. It's a collective of rappers from the Oakland area. That was kind of spawned by Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Okay.
And this came out in 98, I believe. 98. And it's the same thing. A bunch of different rappers from the West Coast around the Oakland area got together and put this album out. And every track is a banger, man. There isn't a single skip on this album. And when I was in Seychelles, this was on heavy rotation. Like, I'm not a biggest rapper hip hop guy, but this album was Mos Def, and there's a few other rap albums or hip hop albums that I had on heavy rotation, and this was definitely at the top of the list. And
the concept,
yeah. I mean, great stuff. if I had to pick a song off this album, I'd have to go with the at the Helm, I believe is the name, the one with Dell. That's one of my go-to songs. I always love listening to that one. Yeah, at the Helm, I think it's called. Yeah, at the Helm. That's the one with Dell opens up, and it's kind of same idea as Wu-Tang, right? You got a bunch of different guys. You got 2 or 3 guys rapping on each one, taking turns, kind of like you said. It's almost like a battle, right? And these guys just feed off each other so well, and like a lot of little samples, like the Wu-Tang, like these funny little sounds that they put into the beats and stuff, and it makes for like beautiful backtracks to them rapping. And I definitely highly recommend anyone going to check this out. If you like collectives, like of hip hop artists together putting out some great albums, Hieroglyphics opening album, it's called Third Eye Vision. Definitely go check this out. It's really good, really good.
Good call.
I'm surprised this got big. Like this was huge when I grew up because like I was just over the Altamont from Oakland, but I didn't know that like the rest of the world like really got on to the Hieroglyphics. So that's cool that you know them. And like, yeah, that whole conscious rap era was really fun. Like I liked having hip hop that was really introspective, really had something important to say. So
yeah, it wasn't just about money and
look at my car,
women, cars, showing off your bling or they like that's why I like Mos Def so much as well. That was like I was playing with putting most Black on Both Sides or this one, and I was like, I have to go with this one because it just edges it out just ever so slightly. Yeah.
Wow.
Someone's getting murdered.
Yeah, somebody's kitchen just got wrecked by a cat, I think.
I think my cat found something. He's patting something around right now.
Your cat's deleting your book, man. It found you. It's fucking. You're gonna go later. You're gonna be like, fuck.
Oh, fuck. He's probably doing us all a favor.
Oh man. Come on now. Come on. All right. All right. This next pick's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be Adrian's third and final pick.
Come on, pop fan. Like, let's hear this one.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Throw it up. There you go.
Oh, Lana, it's pretty good.
Listen, you know what's funny? It's like, so again, too, we're talking about debut albums, right? And it's like, again, too, it's like, it's one of those albums that kind of sticks with you, right? Like, you know, it's like I said, Public Enemy, Tin Machine, like to this day has always stuck with me. It's always whatever. And for some reason, this goddamn album, so 2010, 2011, and I just remember like nothing was really going on music wise, right? You know, I mean, bands are putting out their 4th, 5th Who Gives a Shit album, right? With a couple good singles and whatever. And, you know, you dove into your old Bad Religion catalog and whatever kind of got you through the day. But it's like, so this shows up and it's like, I remember like, you know, so the video for Video Games came on and like, God damn, that song was so fucking good. And it was just like, and then you see the cover, you know, that looks like, you know, a poster for a Wes Anderson movie, right? You know, like everything about it, like the topography of it, you know, like just how she got her name, you know, splash from like, you know, end to end. And it was just like the cover is so well put together. And then I remember I grabbed the album and it's like, you know, it kicks off with Born to Die. And it's like 12 or 13 like Bond tracks, you know, but with like a bit of a trip hop beat behind it. Yeah. Right? She's got a bit of that, whatever. And her voice is just so husky, you know, and she's just like, you know, like the lyrics are just kind of well, you know, they're just well thought out. It seems like a concept album. Actually, it's funny. I think when you look at her discography, there actually is like a story that she tells with the covers. You know, like she's kind of certain situations and all that. Anyway, so it's funny. It's like, so I'm not really like a adult contemporary kind of whatever. I don't know if I really put this adult contemporary, but I think everything about it, like, you know, her stage name was so fucking cool. The album cover is so fucking cool, and it's like. And it's funny, I fired up this morning, right? And it's just like, I couldn't, I thought, well, I'm just going to take it off and listen to something else, right? I just couldn't take it off. And it's just like, man, I don't know, man. It's just like, she just absolutely grabs you. And it's funny, it's like, you see her now, she's got such a rabid fan base. You know what I mean? Like really, like, you know, historically, someone like Lana Del Rey should have just been a one and done. This should have been her like one hit wonder album. Video Game should have been just kind of like whatever. you know, and then on a bunch of KTEL compilations, and then who gives a fuck, right? But she's just like, I think she's got knocked out about 6-7 albums now, and it's like she's just
Wow,
like,
she has that many albums?
fuck, dude, she's so it's I know, and she's
she was a none and done for me. I didn't even know of her till we did this show.
I know, dude. It's like, you know, it's like you gotta listen to her third album, Ultraviolence, that she did with Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys, who produced it. My God, man, it's like, fuck, it's just like this modern day Western, country and Western album, but like with like murder, you know, as like the theme, and yeah, I don't know. It's just like I said with Born to Die. It's just it's just everything. It's just everything. It's the vibe. It's the look. It's her name. It's just it's just the package, you know. And
all the aesthetic is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's definitely a concept album because I DM'd you after I listened to this Thursday morning. This is the first album I put on Thursday morning. So I was like, it's going to be a little lighter, you know, to get my day started a little smoother. And like I told you, I hope she cut a check to her ex because, goddamn,
there's a song on Ultraviolence called "Fuck My Way to the Top." Man, she's just like, she's just, I don't know, man. She's just like, there's something about her, you know. It's just she just lays it out.
But like you said, I like the fact that it isn't a poppy kind of album. Like the bass is heavy and low. Yeah. Like if you had this playing in your car and you had the bass cranked up, you're gonna rattle the fucking doors off your car. You know?
Exactly, and you know, and it's never on radio. She's never on radio. The only thing on radio recently was her cover of "Summertime," the Sublime track, and that was it, really. And then video games had like a little bit of smattering of whatever, but after that, like radio just gave a fuck, right? So it's
I really like the bass lines in this. Like that's what kept me going. It made it much more palatable for me. It had more of like like a house vibe to it.
There you go. Yeah, and you know what? You could almost see her put out like an instrumental album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, exactly. Kind of like Portishead did or whatever. Like just with like an orchestra with her or something. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And you know, too, funny. After listening to this, I jumped back to the third Portishead album. Right? I just kind of like knocked that one out. I'm like, holy fuck! I forgot how good that was. I forgot how good they were. You know, and so Lana Del Rey is like, you know, she's like that one night stand that Portishead kind of like knocked out. You know what I mean? And it's just like she's just, you know, it's just it's funny. Like, you know, like, I mean, you know, you could be dismissive about her, right? You know, like, you know, if you're a metalhead or you know, or into punk or whatever, hardcore hip hop, but there's something about her, man. She just kind of sort of crosses genres, and it's like people respect. I respect. I find there's sort of respect for her. You know,
she definitely has a type. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Because from the lyrics, her ex was definitely a criminal, a drug dealer of some sorts, or into shady shit. Anyway, if you listen to the lyrics, you know, she definitely has like the bad. I don't know what orientation she is, if she's bad boy, bad girl types, but that's definitely what she's attracted to. So when you listen to the songs, all it is about, you know. The lifestyle and all that stuff and kind of how it created conflicts. So but she's hanging on. I mean, she's, you know, she hasn't kind of fallen to like that you know, that Amy Winehouse kind of like rock and roll lifestyle, you know, with a bad boyfriend and, you know, a bad drug dealer kind of thing. And, you know, she's just kind of held on. She's like knocking out really albums every couple of years. And I don't know, dude. It was a weird one for me. It was just, I don't know what it was. To be honest, like when we first talked about this, that was like the first thing that came up was that album, because I still think about that cover. That cover to me was just perfect. It was just like if you're going to introduce somebody to the world, that is perfect. The name, you know, just her face, central again to the whole Wes Anderson, you know, style to it. But so what track would you recommend off this album?
Yeah, Born to Die, right off the bat. Track 1, it just completely just like, you know, knocks you on your ass, and you know, away you go.
Excellent, nice. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know if I'm a fan of hers, but it was. I didn't turn it off.
You don't have to be. Yeah, you don't have to. Like I said, I like 2 of her albums, like this one, Ultraviolence, and then the rest I'm like, whatever. It gets a little schmaltzy for me, you know, a little Barbra Streisand at times, but you know. Yeah.
But I believe, as you said, she's getting a lot of respect, and I do. So it's the same thing. And how I listened to this album is when I was my roommates when this came out was well, into punk like me, but I don't know. He felt into this album, and I have to listen to it a lot because he was in love with this album. And I've also felt it, no, but I also felt in love with it, not the way that I would listen it by myself, but when I was hearing it, it was really good, and never thought to. I'm hearing on the radio, I want to change, but it's not playing on the radio. But someone is playing it, I just will not change room or go somewhere else because I don't like the music. I really love what she's doing.
Yeah.
And how she's acting probably in the scenes. She will have a lot of influence, and it's going to make a good documentary when she probably.
And you know too, like, because like she's not on the radio and all that, it almost kind of feels like there's something kind of underground about her. You know what I mean? It's like, and again too, it's like, you know, like punk rockers, right? Like, you know, like I said, I was like, you know, I'm a big Bad Religion fan, SNFU and NoFX and whatever, right? But I find I just sometimes I need to just kind of turn off the engine a bit and just kind of chill. And I find she just kind of, you know, she brings in a bit of that hip hop as well for me, and just kind of like just creates that that tone, just kind of settles things down and
it's like everything in life. You need a little bit of variety, or else you get sick of the shit. You're always you know, like food. You can't eat the same thing every day. You'll get sick of it. So you know, you got to change it up once in a while.
There you go.
All right, Maxim, man. Maxim, you're up next, man.
Yeah, and we'll go back in more like we are in Manchester in a pub and you want to fight. So the last one was Cruise Control. It's coming
really like it's the describe Cruise Control, I think.
They are from the Manchester DIY scene. It's a band that formed like 5 years ago, but that's their first official release that just came out in April. So I didn't see it when I choose the album. One in '93, in 2003, and now 2023. So all the three of the decades are there for me. But the production was done by their guitarist. It's just, I don't know. I listened to that band the first time I heard that song. I sent it to her. It's just a song, The Taxman, the first, just blew my mind. It said, okay, that's going to be huge. You go on Spotify, there's 200 monthly listeners. Okay, maybe not that huge. And now they're about at 3,000. It's not that much, but I'm sure that this band at some point, like the Chats, when the Chats, the first album came out, it did not blow out right away, but a lot of people like John Gentili at Punk News said, this band's going to be huge. And it took their second album, Get Fucked, and they toured a lot. I believe what they'll help us. The first time we saw them at Fufun Electric, it's just it was packed. Everyone was there for them. We then went to, let's say, see them with the Bronx, and the Bronx was overpowered by the Chats. All the Chat band was there, and they left after the Chats.
Half of the place emptied out after Chats, man. Like, I felt bad for the Bronx. I really did. I really felt bad for them. It was bad. It was kind of sad, really.
But they played for Puzza Fest, the Bronx, and like all the fans were there. Like, that was an amazing show for the fans. But at that show, it was kind of sad, like you said. I was like, oh no, poor them. Like, the singer of the Bronx is always in the pit singing with people. Yeah. And they were, they looked like they were like in a teenage party. Like, there was not that much people, but like he was singing, and like, that was sad.
But that's the vibe that I get from this album. I'm sure that, they need to probably be backed up by their good headliners, be brought around the world and tour and found their from the people that are going to listen. But I don't know. If you put this album on, you just want to go run. I don't know. You put Taxman on and just get energy. You want to do something. You don't, It's hard to explain, but it's an album that we both enjoy, and we fought a bit to who's going to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, it was a great pick, because this was my favorite album of all your picks. Was this one, Cruise Control. I really enjoyed this album when I listened to it. It's definitely got a little bit of a throwback to maybe like the 90s punk a little bit. And I really enjoyed it.
Mix between the 2000 indies and the 1980s hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what the labels say on their Instagram. They say that they are 4-piece turbo gods. They just want to mess with you.
Yeah. They say they are
Yeah.
guts, but like not really.
But they are party guys, you know, that they are doing this for fun. They say, you know, we want to reach the top of the rock and roll. They just want to have fun, and I hope we can see them live soon. I know they're touring much more around UK and Europe right now, and also this DIY scene and indie scene. I discovered a lot of band going with the label TNS Records that they are on. So like Piss Kitty that they are touring with. They doesn't have an album yet, but this is something that I'm waiting for probably this year, next year. For what I heard from Piss Kitty, it's really, really nice.
Really good.
So I don't know. All revival for me from this DIY scene for the British punk, and I really like it.
So I'm assuming Taxman is your song off this album?
Taxman will be the one, but it's hard to choose because Dead on Arrival is so good too. They're all bangers, honestly. But Taxman was the first one I discovered. So we have, both of us have listened to it so much that we are almost to get tired of it. But today I just put it back before we did the show, and what she says, I was so tired of it, but damn, this song is so good.
I stopped listening to it a little bit because I burned, like in French we say on a brûlé la chanson. It's like we burn the song, so we don't listen to it because we listen to it too much. But like he put it on this afternoon, I was like, oh yeah, it's so good. I missed that vibe, that energy, and all the album is super great. I think it's really influenced by bands like Emil and the Sniffers or Ideals too. So you have that like Aussie energy. So that's nice.
Aussie and Idols are they?
No,
they're Scottish.
Like the UK vibe.
Yeah, UK. But UK and I don't know for in the punk rock, UK and the Australian vibe is closer with the maybe what we have here in North America. I felt with the chats, the chats you put them in on a show for me, and first thing I was gonna say they come from UK. I will not say Australia probably, but they have same kind of vibe.
Cool. All right, so then what's
my last pick?
Yeah,
Teenage Halloween with their first album that is called also Teenage Halloween. I discovered them a little bit before the Puza Fest, and I fell in love with them at Puza. They were so like super friendly. We smoked weed with them. They were awesome. They're also self called a queer band, so they're really into LGBTQ and queer friendly and stuff. The songs are about a lot about like coming out or the gender euphoria and stuff like that. And I think it's refreshing in the punk scene also to be more queer and more inclusive, because it's a lot like a boys club, I think, a lot.
But it's been changing a lot the last while.
Don't go in the Lagwagon show. It's going to be a boys club.
Oh yeah.
it can use a lot more change. Like it really
exactly, and like more people of color and like more queer people on the scene and transgender people and stuff. But that's what drawn me to that band. But also it's like a small party each time. The music is super good. On this album there's I think she's identifying as a girl. I'm sorry if I misgender her, but there was a girl in the band. Now she's not there anymore, but it's super good anyways. And they're just really funny and down to earth and just like living the queer life and sharing how they feel about that and stuff. So
on a party vibe.
On a party vibe,
exactly. It feels more fun than politically like driven. So yeah,
exactly. It's not like the sad queer or like it's always like super happy, super partying and stuff. So
upbeat,
exactly.
And they were matched against the Bronx.
On
the schedule for the Puza, they were playing at the same time with the Bronx. So it's just weird that we brought that.
Yeah, but it was they were really, really fun and really, really cool to speak to also. So
So what song would you pick off the album?
I would take Holes.
Holes?
That would be my favorite.
I
Nice.
love this character. I hope that they kind of keep this around, kind of as like their logo. I love the
The art.
iconography. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about
What-
I bought a T-shirt at Puza. It's it talks to me on so many levels, but it's like Care Bears on top of a cop car on fire. And one of the bears have the gender neutral sign on his belly, and the
Okay.
other one has a big pumpkin on his belly, and they just do like big fuck yous, and like it's amazing. And there were also the pansexual c'est quoi drapeau? Flag, yeah. So yeah, all their artwork are amazing. So I really digged it for the visual too.
I got to check that out. I'm all for ACAB Care Bears. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I did also a design that it's time to defund the police, and it's a little clock. So yeah, I don't like police. I hate them a lot.
All right, now Becka, your third pick. What you got going?
All right. So my third pick is we're going the synthwave now. So it's Carpenter Brute Trilogy. And so I picked this one because I've been listening to it a lot lately. It's so basically it started out as 3 EPs, but then it was made into an album. And it's just there's no singing, it's just all instrumental. And I since like Stranger Things came out, I kind of also went down the synthwave rabbit hole, or more dark synth. So I got into Perturbator and Ghost, huge Ghost fan. And but Carpenter Brute is it's been my go-to lately. Just it's good music to listen to when I'm working on the kind of comics I've been working on lately. You know, kind of a sci-fi, spacey kind of vibe. I want the soundtrack since going on in there. But also, his music's been featured in video games like Hotline Miami. I think a couple of tracks got on there. And I don't know if you guys, anyone's gamers here. But yeah, Hotline Miami is a indie game, and
it's awesome.
the story behind it is so cool. Like, I know there's comic books from that series already, but it's, if they wanted to continue it, I would love to be part of that.
Oh, dude, the wildlife comic is rad. Like, that's probably one of the best things you could get from Samaria. Have you seen the movie that Carpenter Brute worked on, the Blood Machines? It's on.
Yes, that was one of the reasons why I got Shudder, because I wanted to see Blood Machines. So
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. Like, it's like a heavy metal magazine short, but like as a film, it's this sci-fi movie about like these priestess women that make spaceships fly, and there's like this racist German guy trying to kill them all, but like their ship has like like it is just one of the most cool visual movies you'll ever see. But the soundtrack that they do for it is just perfect, because it's
perfect. It's all in his Bandcamp, the soundtrack for Blood Machines, and I think all of his albums are on his Bandcamp. But yeah, like I just love his work, and I would love to see him live someday. But for now, I'll just stick with his music. But yeah, check out Blood Machines. Also check out. So one of my favorite tracks is Turbo Killer, and actually you can see the video on it on YouTube is kind of like the beginning of the it leads into Blood Machines. Yeah, definitely watch that video and then go back to Blood Machines, and you can see like the parallels between the two.
Yeah, but this was my favorite pick of yours.
Okay.
Because I knew nothing about this, and Johnny, when you posted it, I sent it, like I DM'd Johnny, like I forwarded it to him, and he's like, hell yeah, when he saw that pick, and I was like, all right. So it was one of the first ones I put on from your pick. Then like after I listened to it, I just went into the garage and broke out my old BMX from when I was a kid and just rode around the streets at midnight, right? Well, and just like, this is the soundtrack to being a kid and riding your BMX, like
get your walkie-talkie out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just go riding around. Yeah, I love this. I didn't know what to expect when it just hit. Like that first song too. It's like, with that sit, you're like, oh shit, and the instrumental part is just perfect. No singing,
Yeah.
Like I love it. It was great. It was a really fun listen, and I totally wasn't expecting that because I know you like a lot of the heavy stuff. So I was like expecting, and Carpenter Brute. It sounds like like okay, it sounds edgy and stuff, but yeah, really love this pick. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun album and one of my favorites for sure. What other tracks do I love from it? There's so many great. Roller Mobster, Escape from Midwich Valley. I think that was the track you were just talking about, the opening track. I think like some of his music's been sampled, like Cartoon Network has used it for their previews for Samurai Jack or something, but it's probably on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, his music, I didn't realize like how much of his music is used in a lot of things. And I think like the last track, Invasion AD, like I forget this artist name, but he used it for a short he made. It was like, I'll have to send you the link to it, but it was like whatever original thing he was making. Incredible animation, and the music and everything. It was a really cool cyberpunk animation, and it fit really well. I wish I remembered what his name was, but I think he's done work on one of the Spider-Man movies, the Spider-Verse, or maybe, or one of the Spider-Man movies. I don't remember, but anyway, I'll send you the link.
I ended up listening to the trilogy album after Joe mentioned it. I felt like I was in like an 80s montage my entire morning, right? You know what I mean? I feel like I should be like working out or something, or like putting together something, you know what I mean, for something, right? So it absolute throwback, right? And it was a total Stranger Things moment, really.
Yeah.
I'll give it a listen for sure.
Oh, if you like old horror movie soundtracks, you'll love it, man. Like they lean really heavy into the classic John Carpenter, which I think is
Oh wow, okay. You got me at that. It's fine. I'll listen to it.
I'm a huge.
It's perfect for reading. You just put it on and you can just zone out and just have a good time. Like, and not
That help me with drawing too. So yeah.
Like you mentioned, the Hotline Miami soundtrack. I love that too. So like this definitely fits the same vibe. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, Keifer, what's your last pick, man?
Okay, I'm definitely going to be listening to that Carpenter Brute album. So my last pick is the 1977 originally self-titled album, Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel's solo debut after leaving Genesis, retroactively named Car, because the first 4 albums are all called Peter Gabriel he put out. So they're all identified by the photo art. So the first 4 albums before So, which was the big 80s kind of mainstream, I guess, sellout record, some people would say, all had experimental photography used for their covers, different techniques and things like that. This is one of the first vinyls that I like properly sought out and bought when I was like, like 19 or something. And it was like a total mystery grab for me. Like I wasn't into prog rock fully at that time. I didn't really know what it was. I wasn't really familiar with Genesis or like early Genesis and the difference. So like if someone says Genesis, I'm just thinking about Phil Collins. And yeah, I saw the photo of the cover and I don't know why, it like pulled me in. It was like, this is for some reason evocative to me. And then when I got the actual gatefold like vinyl, you open it up and there's this picture of Peter Gabriel's eyes like scratched out from the negative, like staring back at you once you open it up, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, put it on and totally blew my mind of how varied the sound was. So going like, oh yeah, Salisbury Hill, which is probably one of the biggest hits of this album, masterpiece of composition. So like great, know that, but then everything else is just sort of like totally varied and different again, like the other choices I've kind of had with Midnight Juggernauts. But yeah, and Salisbury Hill is just one of the best mixed songs I think ever recorded, in my opinion.
I agree.
The first time I listened to that through monitor headphones, I felt sick towards the cacophony of stereo guitars sort of going against each other. And every time I get new headphones, I always put that on first to test sort of that effect.
The quality?
Yeah, because I love really clear audio, and stereo audio especially is like one of my favorite things to play with, like texture again with stuff. And yeah, when I like heard that properly through some I think I was in uni doing editing on a short film, and like they had a clear audio sort of like monitor headphone that was some really expensive thing, and yeah, I put it on and it literally like made me nauseous, like because the sort of inner ear imbalance of the stereo mix. And yeah, it's just one of those albums that like I can always put on and like burn through, even though it's such a really ridiculous set. It's got a great like session musicians coming onto it as well, like Robert Fripp from King Crimson is playing guitar on this. You've got Tony Levin, who's obviously again King Crimson, David Bowie session musician. The London Symphony Orchestra plays parts on this as well. So it's a really strange mixed bag again, but I think like
because he has that one. What's the song? It's almost like an a cappella style. Like barbershop kind of vibe. Yeah, exactly. That's like a barbershop kind of. Yeah.
That's really it just comes out of nowhere. Like those
it does.
Just really like surprised the hell out of me. And I remember putting the LP on and hearing the Morbid Burgermeister and just be like, what is this? And then it goes into Salisbury Hill, and it's what kind of made me fall in love with the wildness of kind of like prog rock albums, and I guess like art rock in a way. Side 2 of the album is probably my favorite consistently listened through, because it feels like there's I said it's called band size because my thing it was with vinyl. So that second half of the album really runs through with a bit more rock energy, I think, and it has some of the longer songs on it. So the last 2 songs, Down with the Dolce Vita and Here Comes the Flood, are like my favorite pairing of songs from the album. I really like the transition of the 2 of them, whereas the first half feels like you get more of the tonal, not inconsistencies, but incongruence between them. They shift sort of genre and mix a bit more, but I think the second half of the album's more that prog rock kind of refinement that I think was happening from him going from Genesis to his solo work and experimenting with more sounds. I would say Salisbury Hill would be my pick, but it'd be a bit, I guess, uninspired. So I'm going to say probably, Slow Burn. So first song of the second half of the album, or Here Comes the Flood are probably my 2 that I go back to.
Nice.
I wonder how Genesis felt though, hey, when it's like the dude leaves your band, his first album, his whole album, and he knocks out Salisbury Park, right? It's like, fuck you, right? Can you imagine that? Guys at Genesis like, you seriously? Really? Like, we couldn't have this? I love it.
Yeah, and it's a song about leaving the band as well. So
yeah, I love it. Yeah, honestly, Salisbury Hill is like one of the greatest songs ever, and you know what? You should have picked it. You should have picked it as your song.
I look. If I pick it, and people don't listen to other stuff, so like I've got to represent the other. So if you want to listen to something that's amazing, you'll hear Salisbury Hill once in your life, but you probably won't hear Morbid the Burgermeister anytime soon unless you seek it out.
You know what? Honestly, some songs though, you just kind of stop and you just give it proper attention. And honestly, that's just one of those songs that just.
This is the only album that's older than I am. Out of all the albums we all picked, I went and checked the date. I was like, this came out before I was freaking born. I was like, what the hell, man?
That's the thing for me too, man. Like as a young kid, kind of like learning that, like going like, this is like 77. Like, what's going? Like, this is
February 25th, 77. This album was dropped. I was like, damn.
It's funny. It's funny when you can, like, you're at a certain age, but you connect to something that's so many years, whatever, right? It's like there's a documentary with the band, and their song, "The Weight," take a load off, Fanny, take a whatever, and it's just like, God damn it, man, that song is like up there with Salisbury Hill for me. It's just like, just completely soul crushing, and it was like fucking like what 50 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So
time dilation, hey.
Awesome.
Peter Gabriel is just so good though, man. You can't really go wrong with most of his work. He is a true artist, and I don't know, and a really good songwriter. Like, I put him up there with like Paul Simon, with just always being quality with the stuff he puts out. I mean, very different styles of music, but like I would say with the consistency of quality, like I would compare the 2 of them together.
Well, they own the mid '80s. Like, honestly, like when
between the 2 of them, yeah.
When Sledgehammer came out, and like, I mean, like his videos, right, just completely like, knocked everybody on their ass, right? And it was him and Paul Simon. It was just like this.
Well, you got to throw Prince in there too. It's crazy how many songs he wrote for other artists. It's insane. Yeah, I didn't realize how many goddamn songs he wrote for other people.
Yeah.
Like when I found out that Sinead O'Connor's song was a Prince Prince wrote it, I was like,
I didn't know that either. I was like, fuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, Prince wrote that for her? I was like, damn.
You know, there was a Sinead O'Connor documentary about a year or 2 years ago, and they would not let them use Sinead O'Connor's version of Nothing Compares to You in the documentary. The whatever, which was, I was like fucking blown away by it, right? Because it's like, you know, because it's like, honestly, like that song is more associated to her than to him, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of weird that they wouldn't let her, you know, wouldn't let them include that.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, what's your last pick, man?
I'm gonna pull a line from Adrien from a couple minutes ago, and I'm going to the
Bad
Religion catalog.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with How Can Hell Be Any Worse, which is probably
This one's happy too that you picked that.
Yeah, I was gonna go with. I figured somebody out of the crew that was here tonight. I figured someone would pick Bad Religion. So, yeah.
I mean, because in a way, it's just kind of perfection. Like it just came out and it showed you what Bad Religion was, but at the same time, like it, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best of that era of hardcore albums. Like I put it above, like even like the early Adolescence and Black Flag stuff. I absolutely really like this album, not just because I'm a huge Bad Religion fanboy, but the whole thing is just banger after banger. Like they showed up and they told you what they were going to do, how they were going to play, how they were going to talk, how they were going to treat you as an audience. And from track to track, it's just glorious. And I didn't find out about this album till later. Like I got into Bad Religion around the Recipe of Hate.
Yeah, that was me. Recipe for Hate. Yeah.
That was the first album of theirs I had. But early on, I heard Neighbors. No one loves you like you. I heard Voice of God is Government. I was just like, so they were always just good. And then I got into the whole first album, and like the whole thing is just so superior to a lot of other stuff that people were doing at the time and they're still doing now. I mean, it is just if you want to know what punk rock is about, like I don't know of too many other albums you could throw on and it just be a complete representation of like the attitude, the sound, the scene, the what's possible and what you could talk about in songs and still be fun. That's another thing I love about Bad Religion is they're so serious. Their message is just so staunch, but they're almost a party band with the sound. Their songs,
every album I gotta have the ahs, the oohs, right? Oh yeah,
it's all just so upbeat. It's so positive sounding. It makes you like want it. It makes you really happy to listen to it. And you're just like, yeah, pity. And you're just like, what am I singing about? Yeah, but it's just sounds so happy and wonderful.
And you know, too, no one ever talks about Greg Graffin as a frontman. You know what I mean? Like they talk about everybody else, but he just never there's just never really that much admiration for him as how good he is as as a vocalist, right? He's so distinctive. Like you know who it is as soon as he opens his mouth, right?
They don't sound like anybody else, and like he's consistent. He never goes above and beyond, so you're not really ever dismayed when he doesn't do that big showy thing because he's always just gruff and telling you how life is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like the Lou Reed of punk for me. You know what I mean? It's just like you just know exactly what you're gonna get, and you're fine with it. And just
like Milo.
Yeah,
Milo is like that too. I think.
Yeah,
the singer from Descendants.
Yeah. And just the longevity of Bad Religion.
Oh yeah,
like the fact that they're still together. They're doing shows. They're going to be at Rock Black Hose. They're coming to Victoriaville, and just the fact that they're still at it. They're still. Did they just release an album recently, or are they dropping a new album or something?
They put one out in 2021, the True North. And I think they might. They're constantly doing stuff. The one thing that I love is that there's always been like this thing, like when Pennywise was around, people were like, "Oh, they're going to be this generation's Bad Religion," and then when Anti-Flag was around, people were like, "Oh, these guys are going to be this generation's Bad Religion." The funny thing is, they never were replaced. They're every generation's Bad Religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're going to outlast everybody. Seriously. Yeah, they're gonna be the Rolling Stones of punk music, right? Be fucking 90 years old and like still like knocking out a decent album, right? Leaving losing the Oz. Yeah.
And you should just not talk about the second album and everything's fine.
Oh yeah, Into the Future. There's a reason why like they broke up for a little bit. Like, and as much as I love prog, it's like Bad Religion maybe should have never tried to do prog. Like, it wasn't for them. I do listen to the album and have fun with it though. I laugh at it though. It's just kind of like wow. You guys were really on one when you did this.
Yeah.
So what song, Johnny, man?
Oh, dude, that is a hard question. Let me look really fast.
There's some bangers on it, man.
The whole album, I can't because it
Where,
starts
like-
so good with "We're only gonna die."
A lot of people that don't listen to Bad Religion probably know that song because Sublime covered it, right? So people that don't even know Bad Religion probably know Bad Religion without even knowing they know Bad Religion, right? So
I'm gonna go with "Voice of God as Government," man.
Voice of
Neighbor.
God.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's the one that hooked me. I think it'll hook other kids. You know what I mean? If they've never heard it.
It's super funny that you said that it was like a happy band because the first time I saw Bad Religion, Less Than Jake were opening for them. It was like a big clash of like super ska happy, and then you Bad Religion, but it's a fun band, but like the lyrics are so sad at some point. So like, yeah, I totally understand what you meant by happy band.
Not particularly on this album, but like especially
No.
Recipe for Hate. Like I remember listening to Struck a Nerve, and you're just like, who the fuck writes a song about this? A homeless guy eating a candy cane on a bus, and it isn't even Christmas. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I love about that song too? I always remember that lyric about whatever. You just like I always like imagine like just seeing like just him on a wintry day with breath coming out and that. You know, it just seemed like really something just very Edmonton about it. You know, Edmonton in January.
But,
Nice, great. I had full confidence that someone was going to pick Bad Religion. And
too. Everybody loves Bad Religion. That's the thing. Everybody loves Bad Religion. If someone says they don't like Bad Religion, like they're a fucking liar, right? It's just like we all have a favorite Bad Religion album. You know. I bet if I call my mom right now, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of like Generator." I guarantee you, right? You know.
Against the grain. Your mom seems like I like the corny album cover.
Right? I mean, come on. It's like, there's some like 6-year-old that's banging to Sorrow right now, right? Like it's just like everyone loves Bad Religion.
My first album was Stranger Than Fiction, actually. That's
their first major label debut. Yeah.
That's the first one. The first one I bought, probably the first CD I actually bought is Stranger Than Fiction.
Was that with Atlantic?
Yeah, I believe the
Atlantic.
Is it this one?
Was that their first like commercial breakthrough? I think.
Yeah.
Was it 20th Century Boy was on that?
21st Century Digital Boy
came from Against the Grain though. It was a 21st Century Boy was originally came out. Yeah.
But Stranger Than Fiction was their big album. I bet you if you look at the sales, I bet you that was probably their biggest sell. Because Sorrow was on that too, right?
No, Sorrow is later on. It's on.
Was it later?
Yeah.
I believe Sorrow.
That's when
Process of Belief, I believe.
That's when I was.
Okay.
That's when I heard Bad Religion for the first time. Yeah, I think I'm the youngest here, but yeah.
Yeah, Sorrow was during the Bush years. Yeah, that was on the Los Angeles. It's his Burning album, right?
It's Process of Belief, I think.
Yeah.
Process of Belief. Yeah.
The Process album. Yeah. All right. So my last pick will be. I'm going to go with Wire.
Ooh.
This is a British band from the 70s, back in the British punk days, late 70s. They're right up there for me. Like they edge out Buzzcocks, like by just a hair, you know. Like I like Buzzcocks, but this album for some reason, love every freaking song. Like there isn't a miss on this album. Love it. Great debut album. I mean, if you dig like that kind of British rock, even like it's almost got like a post rock almost sound, like just before like the new wave or whatever you want to call it there. It's kind of like that bridge in between the two, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not too snotty or sassy, but it's got a little more of it than the Buzzcocks, right? It's kind of in between, like let's say like what a Sex Pistols would be and Buzzcocks. They fall like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Like if Sex Pistols were too bratty or snotty and Buzzcocks were too poppy for you, well, the Wire's the perfect medium, right in between the two, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny when you send me a list and I fired up right away and I text you like immediately. I'm like, holy fuck, Elastica ripped off in this thing, right?
Yeah. Straight up. Like, they didn't even try. They didn't even try. It's like,
hide it. Fuck, unreal.
This came out in the 70s. No one's gonna realize it. This album is not older than I am, so by a couple months. It came out in November of '77, so I'm slightly older than this album. Yeah, so it's a great album. You guys should go check it out.
It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah,
This was a first time listen for me. Like I had only recently kind of heard about this album. Like somebody was making fun of Rolling Stones top punk rock albums, and like it's kind of the first time I heard about it. And I kind of thought it was a newer album, like because like the version I saw, it said it was uploaded in 2013. So like that's when I thought it came out. So I thought they were just a really good retro band. And then Joe was like, "No, they're from '77, dog." And I'm like, "Okay, that makes them even cooler in my book," because I was already digging them. But
yeah, that whole era too. Television too. That's another one you should hit up.
Oh yeah, and I'll go with the Elastica song, the Three Girl Rumba. It will be the song that Elastica ripped off. People have to hear it, right? People that don't know have to know where it comes from.
You're gonna have to put the Elastica song on there too, because I don't think a lot of people know who they are.
I'll put it when I do the playlist. I'm gonna put them back to back.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll put should I put the Elastica one first and then Wire, or
playing on top of each other? You might as well, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put them right beside each other, back to back, man. When I make the playlist, and I'll get the playlist out quicker this time because I'm not working weekends anymore. So I'll probably bang it out this weekend before. So I'll send Johnny the link. We'll put it back in the descriptions for anyone watching. So if you come back, and I usually post it on Instagram for people, like you could just click the link and you could go listen to the playlist on Spotify.
Awesome.
So yeah. Those are our picks. Debut albums. Yeah. So thanks to everyone for showing up and sending us your picks. It was great. Loved it, man. We got a great variety, I think, of stuff on there. Like, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy when you guys were sending me your DMs. I was like, wow, we're definitely covering a pretty wide array of different sounds and music. You know, from like Lana Del Rey all the way to.
I think we're missing a mod band. I think that's kind of all that's missing. We've got a post emo. We don't
have a ska band.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
So like we're missing a few subgenres, but we've covered like almost everything. And
I never got into ska like
you did too. Big. You told me you liked
Boss Stones.
Skulls.
I like the Boss Stones. Voodoo Glow Skulls is all right.
You like Operation Ivy. You like ska, dude. You just don't know.
Operation Ivy, but that's like borderline ska, man.
It's ska core. It's third wave, but it's
yeah.
Goldfinger.
I think I liked ska before.
No, you're not a Goldfinger fan?
No.
You don't like Goldfinger? Even when Tony Hawk sang with him?
No.
That was my first show ever. I saw Goldfinger and No Doubt at the Doubletree Hotel in Modesto, California.
That would have been so much fun.
You know what?
I was in 7th grade. Like
I could fuck with a few No Doubt songs. You know.
You know what's funny though?
I do. Tragic Kingdom is a good album. I don't care what anybody says. I can still fucks with Tragic Kingdom. After
what
that,
happened,
not so
what
much.
Happened to her, though? What happened to Gwen Stefani, though, right? But Gwen Stefani was like...
She's not a holla back girl, Adrian. You just
You marry a drunk punch. This is what happens an alcoholic
man.
Right? You marry a country drunk, and then, all of a sudden your street cred is gone, right? So...
drunk. I thought she was married to the Bush dude for a while.
No, dude. No, he stepped out with the nanny.
Yeah.
So Gavin Rossdale, he took a chunk out of the nanny, and then she bolted, and then she married Blake Shelton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I don't keep track.
He's not bad. He's like one of them pothead liberal country guys. It's not like she
really. Name a song.
I don't know any of his music.
Name a song, Johnny.
I just know it's supposedly one of the good ones.
I'm surprised Johnny didn't pick fucking Blake Shelton's debut. It's probably how some stupid, like fucking, I don't know, loaded in a back seat or something like that, right? That's just,
He probably sings about pickup trucks and Jesus. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope everybody's having a rad Pride Month. It's only getting started, and I hope it's a good one. Despite what some of the lunatics are trying to do in the world, but next week we don't have any shows. Joe is
rough. Yeah.
Joe is
I got
going
you.
gallivanting around, and
I got too many shows to go to next week, so
Oh, what are you gonna see?
I'm gonna go see Drain on Tuesday, which you guys will be there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Drain, Drug Church, Gel, Magnitude, and Combust. It's quite the lineup. Great lineup. Then Thursday, I'm seeing Pennywise at the festival in Granby.
Nice.
And then I'll probably go see Zulu on Friday at the Sala de Rosa. And back in Granby, it's a 3-day fest. They have a bunch of hardcore bands on the Saturday, so I'll probably go check that out on Saturday.
who else is going to be at the Pennywise show? There's got to be other bands at that fest.
Oh, shit.
Lagwagon.
Yeah.
Lagwagon is on Friday.
Lagwagon, has it been canceled also? Because Joey needed to go into surgery. So I don't know if he's going to be there. I know they canceled the Western Canada tour. So and will still be there. He needs to go into surgery.
I didn't see anything posted, so.
Yeah.
But I just saw them in September. So I was like, and I haven't seen Zulu yet because they when they rescheduled the off show, Zulu couldn't make it to the new date, so they weren't there for the off show, so I didn't get to see them then. So, but they're touring for their new album that just came out in March, I believe, March or April. Anyway, so they're on tour for their album, and they'll be at the Cafe de la Rosa. So yeah,
it's a big week because I have Trice tomorrow. Also be there at Drain, and we'll go to Mad Caddies on Thursday to Fufun. So it's gonna be
the Mad Caddies. I haven't heard them in a long time.
cool.
I think they're one of the bands that are going to be in Granby, the Mad Caddies.
Granby, but I believe it's on the second night, I believe.
So with Lagwagon, they were supposed to be with Lagwagon then.
Yeah, probably.
Is it Catch 22 also?
Yeah, Catch 22.
Yeah, I remember seeing them listed. Yeah.
It's a good ska band too.
No.
Oh, Joe won't like it. He says ska's only 99% horns. Like,
if the Boston's came back and started doing some tours, I might be able to be convinced to go watch them.
all right. We'll see you guys when we see you. Take it easy, y'all.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks for having us.